Alright, YouTube, this is gonna be the last one. Whew, man, listen here. I've been banging out these videos and I had to get me a little something to eat. Man, I was hungry as hell. I had to get rejuvenated right quick. That's neither here nor there. YouTube, this is the last piece of the puzzle when it comes to having your account prepared for the T5 troops. So the last part, this is like an additional way to make sure that your T5 are going to be as strong as they need to be, and it's going to actually protect them. So you end up using less speed ups and resources trying to train them back, or resources to heal them back. All right, it's going to give them way more punch. And see, the thing with the gear is that you have to, as you move up the tiers from the green to the blue and then to the epic, then ultimately legendary, right? You're getting very marginal gain for how much resources you're using, how many materials you're using. So the the blue, green, and gray common gear, right, actually give you more points of stats per material invested, technically speaking. But eventually, once you get enough resources and you have, extra materials to start upgrading to better pieces, then that's when you would start getting, the epics. And then, honestly, I would just for most players, stop at the special talent epics. And if you do decide to go for legendaries, I would steer you more towards accessories rather than the individual gear pieces, because the accessories are more easily swappable onto other commanders if you do decide to do legendaries. So here it is. Amen. Let's start off with the infantry. I'm gonna tell you what I would start at for each piece, and then where I think is a good endpoint, like 100% uh, good endpoint. And it's gonna be mainly at the epic gear. So for the weapons, starting off with the blessed blade is the best thing you can do for infantry, right? I have it on my Sun Tzu. Slightly better would be the gatekeeper shield, right? And I would make the argument, if you care a lot about health, you could kind of stop there and work on someone else. Because the next best thing that you could do is the Fubuki, and it is, 13%. So, I mean, if you special talent the um, gatekeepers, I think that's 10 and a half, um, 10 and a half percent stats total. I mean, you're getting 13 here, but this is health, which is a way more premier stat. So I don't know. I mean, if you had other shit to that you want to craft, then I see the argumentation of stopping there, right? Because it's just cavalry attack. But this is going to be probably better overall. Definitely finish the fight quicker, but lots more materials. This is a very cheaper option. All right, now for the helmet, I'm gonna start with the Iron Helm. Special talent 4%. It don't get much easier than that. Now you could end up graduating. If you care about the march speed, this is a good um, piece to do for the march speed, especially if you're gonna go for a set bonus. I'll let you decide what you want to do. But if it was just for raw stats, I think the Witch's Lineage, the 8% attack would be the sweet spot. But again, like, there's a lot of utility in having march speed on infantry specifically, and it's 4.5%, way cheaper. Seems good to me. Now for the chest piece, you want to start off with the Infantry Breastplate for sure, 4%, easily special talented. And then once you're ready, you can graduate to the Quinn Soul. It's literally that straightforward. If you care about the stat bonus, like the Windswept Breastplate is available, I'll let you decide how important the set bonus is, and how important the march speed is to you. All right. So now going to the gloves, again, you can just start off with some super cheap 2% stats, 3% special talent. Not terrible, right? Um, a great graduation, like again, if you're going for the Windswept, fine. A great graduation to that is the Calvin's Hand. It's 5% of stats, and you could potentially stop there for a while and work on something else. I really like the infantry because they give you a lot more options of good stopping points to work on something else. Now, if you were going to go, this is 5%. Just keep that in mind, 4 and 1. If you wanted to go for the bigger kahuna, you can get another 0.5% of stats with the Seth brutality. But, you know, or is it 5%, 5.5%? Maybe you get this and then you work on something else. I mean, eventually, yeah, you'll come back to it, but for right now, just work on something else. Calvin's Hand seems fine. Now for um, the pants, right? You can start off with the Ranger's trousers, right? And then the Sentry Breeches will give you 2% more. But I would honestly just skip these. And I would really recommend you just upgrading straight from the Ranger trousers to the Korok's Humility. This is the 8% infantry health is legit, super legit. And yeah, if you don't got nothing else to do and you got the extra materials laying around, like if you want the 2% additional stats, then fine. But you could always special talent this, and it'll give you the same type of thing. Like if you craft something 4 times, right? I mean, you got a pretty good chance of getting a special talent, and would be the same gold amount um, that it would to craft this, and it would take less materials because you can just demolish it to get the materials back. So that's my thought process with that. That's why I say Korok's Humility. You'll get it eventually. Just be patient, right? So, and again, the Windswept is available to you. You can start off with the Boots of the Revenants. Um, Scarlet Hound is a good midway point, and then ultimately the Frost Treads is where you would end at. But again, like if you want to just get the Scarlet Hounds, 4% health, health is a premium stat, call it a day. 1.5% ain't all that. Like it definitely is something, but it ain't everything. Okay, and just go work on something else, right? Because it's about, especially if you're bringing 2 marches or maybe 3 marches to the field, especially like get everything else up to code before you try to go all in on one. Like usually you don't want to do that, but with the gear, I think there's so much diminishing returns on it that it's like just get blues and some the better purples, and you're good to go to start, and then obviously upgrades to all purples when time permits. All right, so that's the infantry gear. Now let's go to calves. We're gonna run it down. So you can start off with the longsword. That's 5% of stats. That's just legit. Special talent, I think it's like 6.5. Solid, really, really solid. You can start off with that, and then this is funny. This is 8%, but you'll get 9 here, and the stat allocation is better. This thing is like literally trash. The only way this is good is if it was a cavalry. You was in a cavalry focused city, like your city had mainly calves, and it was on like a flag. I mean, your city garrison. I guess. This is just weird. The blazing axe is just weird to me. Like the Vanguard Halberd is where that. Plus you get plus 2% cav attack. Set bonus, easy set, and it's fucking green. That's as clear that's clear cut. All right. So now with the helmet, you can start off with a helmet fear, which is what I did. You can also start off with the Expeditions War helm. I wouldn't, argue with you if you did. Ultimately, you want to make your way to Abyssal Visage. But I mean, like, again, the Commander's Helm can be like a stepping stone. You can rock this for a very, very long time. It's 6% versus the 8% you're getting here. Like, just stick with the blue for a while, right? It's only a 2% difference. You get that 2% eventually, right? I guess, no windswept on calves. Stop it. Okay, now there is a clear winner here. The Melanese plate is a great place to start, 4%. And then eventually you want to graduate to the Dark Lord's Blessing. The chess pieces have a very natural progression. Like, it's either going to be this, or that, and then you kind of basically upgrade to the Dark Lord. It's pretty much, or you could do this instead of that for archers, but we're not on archers yet. I'm just saying that the chess piece is very straightforward. Now, for the gloves, you can start off with the bronze bracers. That's a good starting point. And then eventually, I don't think there's any like real blues. You could do like 2.5%, 2.5%. It doesn't matter, right? The next hallmark really is the Isset Sufferance. It's only 40. This is actually one of the cheaper things to get, and it's very optimized for 6% of stats. Right, very optimized, all in cap, 6% of stats is really, really solid. I would just go for that after the bronze. Now, if you're going for the set, obviously it's 5% of stats, plus you get the set bonus. That's good. Eventually, right, you would want to upgrade to the Gladiator because this shit, right, the 8% calf health is nice. Okay, it's just nice. So get the Gladiator, start with the Greaves, upgrade to the Gladiator, right? And then for the boots, you don't actually have very many options for the boots. Like the Windswept Boots is actually one of your better options. I mean, for the boots, you can start off with Edge for 1%, I guess. Go Windswept, March, a little bit March speed. Still relatively cheap. One of the cheaper blues to craft, only 40. And then eventually you would, not the Flame Treads, the Cloud, I always get those mixed up. The Cloud Racers would be the go-to epic, right? The 5.5% cap attack. Pretty good, right? So now for the Archer gear, it's kind of tough to break into the Archers. Like, I think this is like the best thing you can do starting off. I mean, you could do, that's 8%. You could do 4% with the Blessed Blade, especially if you graduated to Gatekeeper Shield, right? With the infantry, and you could use it. It's 4%. It's not bad. It's 4%. You can start there, and then you can skip this altogether, and then eventually just upgrade to the Golden Age, right? It's totally up to you what you want to do. I think the weapon is a little bit more trickier with the archers. Now for the helmet, you can start off with the Helm of the Phoenix, 4%. You can eventually upgrade to Revival Helm, and the Revival set is what it's all about. All of the Revival set is going to be Premier Archer stats, and then it's a set bonus, and you'll get 6% additional stats on top of it. I really like the Revival set for the Revival set for the Archers. You can start with the Chainmail. I'm not going to argue if you do. The Archer health at 6% with the capability of being special talented seems really strong. I could see the Commander's armor being a first piece, especially since you usually develop your Archers a little bit later into the game. Eventually, again, you want to get that Revival plate. You'll get your first set bonus. Get the Archer attack, 7.5%. Simple. Now, with this here, you can start off, I want to say, yes, the leather gloves, 2.5% health. You can graduate to the Saint Song if you wish, but again, the crown jewel would be the Revival Gauntlet, and you really would want all 4 pieces so you can get the bonus. It's 4.5%. I think you're getting 4% here. So maybe this is like the last piece that you do because you're only getting 0.5% and attack isn't the most favorable stat either. Okay, and then for the pants, which would be the last piece of the set, I got to start off with, that's what you would go to the revival, right? But you can start off with the Greaves of the Exile. That seems pretty reasonable to me. I don't really think there's any other ones that are really good to start off. I mean, I guess you can do the Rangers. I wouldn't even mess around with the Breeches at that point. Just go Greaves. You can start with Greaves if you want. Eventually get the revival, 7.5%. Now, you can start off with the edge boots at 2.5%, and then just eventually graduate to the flame treads for 5.5% archer health. And that's what I would do for each one of the classes, the unit types. And then, like, you're gonna have some accessories, right? I wouldn't focus too hard on accessories. The ones that I want to point out of being particularly noteworthy, like in KVK, pretty sure in KVK you can get the Call of the Loyal. This is especially good for infantry, and then if you combine this with like some Windswept on like a Richard, Windswept full set with a Richard with this, like you're not slow anymore, not nearly as slow as you were before, right? I think that's a good option. Uh, there's nothing wrong with this one, but I think there's better options. The Delane's Amulet is really solid. Um, Especially if you're attacking somebody and they're not attacking you. And then I think the Silent Trial, it says can, but it does, right? This is like the reverse of a Pharaoh Nature, basically, and you really do feel it. I'll eventually craft up this Silent Trial here pretty soon. Eventually, I'm gonna do some more math on how fast I'm actually getting materials and all of that. But that's what I would do. Uh, I wouldn't focus too hard on accessories. Like just get two accessories and then like on your main unit, just use them. Right? You can do Delane's Amulet, Silent Trial, or Silent Trial and the Flag for infantry or something like that. That's like totally acceptable. All right, that covers gear, and what this is really meant to do. This is, I should have just said Ultimate Gear Guide. I just ran it down, but this is what you would want to do as you get closer to T5 troops, because you want them to have some serious effectiveness. You start boosting those stats up, getting 40-ish% of stats from gear and above. I mean, you really start to feel it. It really starts to make like a huge difference. That's a whole nother skill on a commander. It really is. So, last bit of the T5 guide, Road to T5. Hopefully you enjoyed the series. I look forward to seeing you watch my next couple of videos. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next, but enjoy. See you in the next one.